What's up everybody and welcome back to the channel. In this video for the First Descendant today, we're going to specifically be looking at a playthrough of level 21 of Void Erosion Purge. Yesterday I released a video where I basically took the position that this should be the mission that you should be focusing on farming as efficiently as possible to get as many weapon cores as possible to drop, which you can then basically upcycle into weapon 10 cores and use that to upgrade all of your weapons. In the comment section of that video, a bunch of commenters asked whether I could show just a simple run through to make sure that I get these less than 3-minute runs, which is essential to hit the amounts of numbers that I was showing in terms of weapon cores per hour and that sort of thing. I should have included it in that video, but that's why we're doing this video today. So let me just quickly run through. Obviously I'm using Ines for this. The build that I'm using for this is the one that's focused on maximize range. Of course, you don't have to run it this way, so you can run Potent Collector here if you want to use that rather, or Decimator, anything like that. I tested all of those. It doesn't really affect the finishing time all that much. I like maximum range or maximize range because it gives me the maximum amount of bounce with my floating lightning, which helps me kill the boss at the end faster. And it also gives me the maximum size snare hunter, which helps me deal with the groups faster. The idea being that this is just making those skills have more value for me because they essentially cover a bigger range. And that's kind of like the reason why I chose it. But this slot over here is open to anything. If for some reason you're struggling with survivability, you can take HP Collector or anything like that. I've made a video on Ines where I tested all of the mods that could potentially benefit you in a way. And what I saw in that video and from that testing was that there wasn't really a massive difference between whichever mod you take here. So, pick what you feel comfortable with. Then in terms of, let's quickly check Reactor. Reactor is of course a tingling mechanics reactor. So that is electric tech. I have a gold electric and a purple tech roll on here. Skill cooldown can work. But damage rolls obviously help. Obviously you don't want damage to Colossus because we're not going to be fighting any Colossus. But yeah, skill cooldown is okay. That's not bad, but damage rolls will go well here. Critical damage can also go well because you do have high crit rate within it, so you're obviously capitalizing on that damage in any case. Then your external components, the Slayer set is obviously kind of like the go-to for this. You are fairly glass cannon, but the point is this is only level 21, so it ain't that bad. You're getting a boost to your skill power with the Slayer set, which is the reason why we use it. But then I will also make a call out to certain substats which will absolutely obviously matter and in some ways are almost essential. First of all, on your sensor, you absolutely want max MP. If you don't have a max MP roll on your sensor, you are not going to be able to get high crit rate because Ines's crit rate is not directly proportional, but she benefits from more MP translating into more crit. So max MP is going to be a big one for you here. Purple and gold is good. Blue might be a little bit shit, so definitely go for purple or gold. This is the reactor that I've been running since basically forever on Slayer, and it treats me well. MP recovery in combat is super beneficial because the point is you do spam your first ability essentially all the time, and that uses MP. Snare hunter, your fourth ability, uses plasma, so that's a different resource altogether. But you are going to be spamming your one and every once in a while folding your second skill into your rotations as well. So absolutely MP recovery in combat is kind of dope there for us. MP recovery out of combat can also help you in the times when you are transitioning from group to group. You can get a little bit of additional boost there. So that's also a good substat to have. And then last but not least, MP recovery modifier is one that just further on juices all of those other ones as well. So this just means that in general, your MP recovers at a higher state than without this roll. So MP recovery modifier, I think is honestly like a have more kind of roll. Don't focus too much on that one if you don't have it. But absolutely max MP is fucking essential. MP recovery in combat for sure. And then MP recovery out of combat is also really nice to have. In terms of the weapon that I use Secret Garden. Secret Garden is a stat stick for Ines, so you can absolutely just use it as a stat stick, but I prefer to also stack some mods into this thing and actually turn it into a weapon that I can use. You can see it has 2.3 million DPS, and basically you'll see me use my gun quite a lot. It helps you cut through yellow bars a lot quicker than just standing there behind cover shooting them with your one. So it actually makes your run go faster. This is where you're going to see a lot of speed improvement on your run if you take these yellow bar elites down super fast. And this build of the Secret Garden can absolutely do that. So in terms of my weapon mods on the Secret Garden, it's actually pretty good. So again, I built this to actually be able to do damage. So yes, it is functional from a quality of life perspective with sprint speed and grappling hook charge time increase, but I also have firearm critical hit damage on here since this gun has a super high crit hit rate by itself, and so you benefit from critical hit damage a lot, and then of course firearm attack as well. If I just show you here, you can see that the firearm has like a 90% critical chance and a 7.2 times multiplier, which is why it hits like a fucking Mack truck. In terms of like my substats on there, of course, firearm critical hit damage, firearm attack, weak point damage, and firearm critical hit rate. Those are the subsets that I have. If, for example, you don't want to use weak point damage, of course, rounds per magazine is also kind of dope, but that's pretty much what you're aiming for. So I think I've covered everything. We've got the build, we've got the gun, we've got the reactor, we've got the components. Let's do the run. So just zoning in, 21 is an open area map, as you can see here. So essentially you have a lot of activity at the beginning of the map here in the middle, and then you kind of like move around on the outside ring. So right at the beginning, we'll just kind of like try to build up some plasma as fast as possible so we can get our first snare hunter out. Kind of like just stick to the back and use stuff like that to shoot your snare hunter into it, which will basically then lock it into position and start fucking just churning out kills. So you'll see the yellow bars there went down pretty soon, pretty fast. So then we can just go here and you can see that basically I'm using my snare hunter and just firing it into clusters of enemies that are problematic and deal a lot of damage. You can see these are the yellow bars that you can shoot. They're also the guys who can one tap you, so it's absolutely worth it to definitely put some bullets in them. And then we can just progress onto the next wave. All the time what I'm doing is I'm just staying almost at max range from these dudes, and I'm kind of just hitting them with my one and peppering them whenever I can. Every once in a while when I see the opportunity, I also fold in a 2 skill, but basically as you can see, I'm just playing super conservative, very tight, not making any gambling decisions, because of course these enemies can one tap you. These big boys here can absolutely blow you away with like basically one burst from their gun. So you kind of like want to be, you know, wary of that. Then now we start moving to the outer ring. So yeah, it's always a good idea to just get started at the top there. And then again, the point is you're going to be moving counterclockwise around this ring. So you're just going to always make sure that you have your back to like no enemies. And then you're just going to start, you know, working your way around. Now these are the guys, you see that burst there can absolutely smoke you like one shot. There I lost a little bit of time. So obviously I could have done that better if I had reloaded my gun before already. But I think we're still going to be, you know, just fine. There's going to be one of these dudes in each one of these packs. That's the dude that you're just going to fucking cut down with the gun. And then you're just going to move on. And we're basically just spending one snare hunter on each beginning of the group, basically. So we get snare hunter out, and then we just start spamming one, and we move through. You can, if you use something like Potent Collector or something, you can obviously go a little bit more ham on your snare hunter and use it more often. That block area there, that's how you know you're at the final area, okay? So here I like to deploy 2 because the boss is going to spawn there. So I already have one waiting for him, basically. And now here, to just be super safe, what you can do is you can just stand behind this box here. I mean, you can pop off on him if you want. He deals a shitload of damage though, so it's the safest thing to just chill here and just get some of those into him. Then he's going to retreat up to the top. At that point, we follow him up and we wham him with one of those. And we just park behind the box and we just kind of like, you know, burn him down. And you'll see my time. I'm going to come in just under 3 minutes. Which is kind of like what I'm hoping for. You can get super lucky and you can get some really decent times here. I've gotten as low as 2 minutes 27, I think is my best. But this is what you want. This is the sweet spot. 2 minutes and 45 seconds for this activity. You're pulling out about 100 mods. And yeah, you're getting 31 core amplifiers. And you just grind this. If you do this for an hour, you make enough for like a whole bunch of upgrades. Maybe 10, 12, 14 crafts, something like that. Maybe even more. But yeah, this is it. This is kind of like the method in which I do it. It gets pretty boring after a whole bunch of hours, but I mean, that's grinding for you, right? It is what it is. But that's it for the video. Thank you very much for watching. If you have any further questions about the run or anything like that, or you know, anything that I might not have covered with this video, of course, hit up the comments. As always, thanks for the support and fucking cheers.